Sir, companies quoted in the Nigerian Stock Exchange had to take advantage of the visit of the minister to bring forward challenges, mounting challenges. These are companies that have been operating in Nigeria for decades even. But, I mean, they couldn't help but air out the losses they've been taking. I mean, some of them have even started closing down some factories. What could be the perennial challenge facing Nigerian businesses, presently at least?
Okay, so primarily, I think the matter that was, laid before the minister is something that ought to be of emergency. It's an SOS issue.
Yes.
So the fact that they actually waited, for that visit before they engaged was unnecessary. I believe that it was an unnecessary delay, that could further, deplete, the already challenged economy for these businesses. So we're talking about companies that are listed in the foreign exchange, and those in the manufacturing sector.
Exactly.
And where a company like Nigerian Breweries begins to tell you that they are strategically reorganizing and closing plants, then you know that there's a problem.
There's a problem.
Companies have been there, for decades, over 20, 30 years, operating. And then within the past, let's say, I don't want to put it down to this administration, within the past 1 year and 4 years, they're having these issues that have pressed them so much that they have to let go. Then you know that is an SOS challenge.
Exactly.
So calling for government intervention now is something they've been doing a bit too late. But our people have said, it's better late than never. So government should, as a matter of urgency, respond hastily to this call. Government has to respond because when you have double-digit inflation, the underlying issue with these companies is a cost issue. Yes. There's a cost issue. The cost of production has skyrocketed.
Yes.
And the cost of production, in line with the consistently depleting purchasing power of the populace, you are producing higher. And it will obviously reflect in the price that will eventually come out.
Yes.
When it reflects in the price, and then minimum wage remains the same, and the economy, there's consistent depletion of purchasing power of people. The people are unable to buy.
Yeah.
And when they're unable to buy, when you're not selling, what then is happening to you? So government, as a matter of urgency, like I said, they need to run after this matter and then begin to bring out policies. Government should give some of these companies little tax breaks. They should give them breaks that will encourage them, because if a company was paying, say, 35% corporate tax and it goes down to about 10%, and the 10% just to show that they have financial responsibility, all right, not to just let them go completely. If you review the tax, give them a break. Some countries have gone as far as cutting tax completely for a period of time. It's a periodic thing, so nobody is saying it has to be permanent. It has to be something that you can do for the next 3, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, so that we'll now see where we are. You see, some of the decisions that the government has taken, I commend them for. You see, it's impacting on our currency. Our currency is gaining strength, day by day, week by week, and we'll see where we are. Now we're trusting that it will go further. So those are the kind of decisions that they should make. Give these people tax breaks. Let us see how it will help them. Because like I said, it's a cost issue. If there's no cost of tax there for them at the end of the day, then their bottom line will be looking, reasonably well. And when the bottom line is looking reasonably well, they should be able to, break even or even make profit. These people are going to, at some point, in the cases where they are not shutting down branches, they will be dropping staff. They'll be letting staff go. And that is going to add to the already challenged unemployment rates that we have. We don't even need more people to be unemployed. So this is an issue that will benefit the companies and also benefit the government. All right? It will benefit the government holistically. Because the government wants to reduce unemployment, I believe. The government wants to make sure that the economy is thriving, for everybody to feel life.
Do we say that the call for more industrialization, which will increase foreign exchange and foreign direct investments, is it that it's not tenable going into industrialization if the existing industries cannot make even...
Foreign direct investment is going to diminish. drastically, and thereby taking down industrialization or bringing industrialization to zero. Nobody wants to go into an economy that is frustrating the already existing businesses. All right? It is what they see from the existing businesses that will encourage them to say this country is good to invest in. So it's investment.
Exactly.
And for these companies, it's investment.
Yes.
So we know what investment is. It's something in putting your money and trusting for a reasonable return on investment.
Good.
Every company that invests wants a return on investment. And then if you're going to see that this thing is not working for the companies and the establishment that are already listed there, then it becomes a call for concern. So industrialization becomes an issue.
Yeah.
It becomes an issue.
Good.
So we may not be able to achieve that. And we've been calling for industrialization. And we've been calling for industrialization. It's from industrialization that our companies will begin to export. Yeah. The much needed high exports that we have been crying about will come from industrialization. Good. It will come from industrialization from local businessmen, yes, from foreign direct investment. Exactly. So if that thing is going to be anything to go by, if it's going to happen, the level of industrialization that we're aiming for, we're pushing for, then government needs to intervene like they have talked about.
My bro, I mean, not too in the not too recent past, we've seen medical production companies in the medical industry leave. Are we seeing something of that sort happening anytime soon with these other companies? That because having that meeting with the minister, I mean, they would have done that meeting in secret, bringing it in the open, calling the press into it. Is that indication? Is that an indication of the exit of some of these companies?
It is it's an indication of a problem that is, that has gotten to its limit, as it were. When something begins, it's easy for people to manage it, particularly in this part of the world. We know how to make fun and joke we know how to manage things, all right? But when you see people begin to cry out, then you know that there are no other options left to them. So I believe that meeting that they called and made it open to the press is an indication that this is our lifeline.
Okay, put yourself in the shoes of the minister, being that the minister is the one now interfacing with these business executives with their surmounting problems. What's your first punch?
Okay, my first punch will be to, make commitments. Give these people in this industry, give them hope. Let there be a confidence that we are going to be doing something about it. And the next thing we want to see the minister do is have an engagement with the president. All right? Because a lot of these approvals will come from engagements with the president. Because we need to do some kind of market stimulation. All right, there's a level of market stimulation that you also do. So if you're going to encourage local manufacturing, then there are certain subsidies that you need to bring about. So you can subsidize certain locally manufactured goods. Subsidize it for the populace to go and buy. It will encourage more people to go and begin to buy those things. When they begin to buy those things, then you see that these people are encouraged that the market is trending and it's working. And then you see them want to stay and you see them want to do more because they're getting. So there's certain kind of subsidies that should take place. All right. But so recently I was speaking with a client, I think it was last week Friday, if not Wednesday, with a client, who is in the oil and gas industry. Okay. And begins to read some of the challenges they're having. It will cost them as much as 30 million to buy a truck of petrol. All right. Whoa. If the truck of petrol, all right. He didn't end there because I'm not talking about him. He drew my attention almost as if he knew we'll have this conversation to companies that are in the manufacturing sector. All right. So he is selling. He's in the downstream industry of petrol distribution. Yeah. So they buy and they sell. So they make some money. But he tells me that a lot of these companies, like the very popular noodle company that we know about, and a lot of them in the manufacturing particularly, they can use as much as a 33,000 liters truck of diesel to run the facility in a month. Oh. So you can imagine what you were. And you see what the previous administration did that a lot of people didn't pay attention to because it did not affect the average man. Okay. They first of all removed subsidy. Subsidy for AGO was removed in previous administration. Okay. And removing that subsidy was already a problem because these manufacturing companies, because we know the power situation in the country, they have to work with AGO to make sure that their plants are functioning at high capacity. All right. Yes. So that was where the problem began. Oh. Then coming even into now this period where even the PMS has now been subsidized, no subsidy. You see that the problem has now even mounted. The inflation that has come with these two, the removal of these two subsidies, the inflation in the market, all right, in the common marketplace is ridiculous.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
and it has a ripple effect. It goes back. It goes this way and that way.
Yes.
So that inflation has now made it very difficult. So the cost of transporting goods to these people back, their raw materials, is higher than normal. The people that are manufacturing these things.
Yeah.
So the cost of transporting their raw materials to them are higher. So logistics cost has gone high, thereby making it difficult for them to sell at a particular cost because logistic costs are higher. Yes. So inflation has gone drastically up. So government has to come in. Government, the first point for the minister is to engage the president, and then they come up with policies like tax breaks here and there. Good. Let them not pay tax in this area for 6 months, for 1 year, whatever works for them. Let us give them some tax break. Let us give them a holiday. Let us see how we can stimulate the market by giving subsidies in some products. What are those products that fall into fast-moving consumer goods category? Okay. How can we subsidize it? All right. So people were buying this thing at this price. At some point, the very popular noodles, all noodles, they were very expensive. Yes. A lot of people avoided them. They were not using them again. Yes. Almost as if, the average, it was as if people didn't have children again that were eating it. Exactly. That thing has gone from normal, it's no longer food for children, it's now food for everyone. Yes. Well, so because it was now expensive, understandably, people were no longer buying. Government can come in and provide some kind of subsidy to stimulate the market for purchase. People will begin to come and buy because government is taking off some of these things. Those are the things that happen in some foreign countries. Right? They do this thing, they stimulate the economy. People will be jumping, people begin to buy this thing almost as if there's no problem. And because before you know, there's a stability. All right? There's no government, truthfully, in the world that can function without subsidy. Every government is subsidizing one thing or the other. Okay. You have to make up your mind which one of them is most important to you. All right? Every government in the world is subsidizing one thing or the other. So which one is best for you? If you say it's not petrol, if you say it's not AGO, then which one? Is it noodles? Is it this? So that the market has to work. The market has to work one way or the other. So that would be my first point, like I said.
Oh, good.